Patrick, thank you very much indeed for those kind words. Honoured guests, it is my great pleasure to be addressing you today. Thank you to all participating. Excuse me. We are all here because human activity, our activity, is changing the global climate. The world's most vulnerable nations or poorest communities are already struggling to cope with those climate extremes. Mitigation plans aim to keep 1.5 alive, but we are behind on adaptation to the many climate impacts that are already locked in and occurring daily. Some will be able to adapt, but many will not. And I am struck by the reality that as I deliver this address today, people on the front line of climate change are suffering hardship. Some are losing their livelihoods, others their lives. Those who are most vulnerable to climate change have done the least to cause it. This is fundamentally unfair, and therefore we must and we can do more. We have to get ahead. We need a fundamental transformation of economic activity, and we must address the inequalities and the injustices that exacerbate climate vulnerability for so many populations. Over the last year, I have visited places affected by climate change, and I have listened intently. We have represented what we have learned from you in the newly published Glasgow Imperative on Adaptation. So we call on those here today to close the adaptation gap with us. We must act now, and we must do more. I have been proud to work with many of you on the Adaptation Action Coalition, which now stands at 40 members and is building consensus on sectors for priority action. Over 80 countries are now covered by national adaptation plans and adaptation communications, setting and sharing a course for change. And during COP26, we have announced over £140 million of adaptation support to African countries. Finally, I am privileged to announce today new UK support of £274 million for the Climate Action for a Resilient Asia programme. This will empower and equip 14 million people with the means to adapt to the impacts of climate change. So I trust that through this dialogue today, we can rapidly accelerate adaptation at a global scale and, importantly, learn from each other. It is our responsibility to build a climate-resilient future for all. Glasgow is a moment to build a movement, because we can't afford to fail. Our time is now. Thank you.